is the press and the palace refusing to look or comment or report on Meghan Markle's links to the same individual, and most importantly, her relationship, her close personal relationship with Prince.
Let me tell you what went down because, baby, this wasn't your regular Saturday night. It started off calm, just snacks, laughter, and a bit of SNL like always. But oh no, tonight wasn't ordinary. Tonight, SNL didn't just make jokes, they threw gasoline on a royal bonfire. Because the second Meghan Markle's name got tangled up with some mysteriously resurfaced yacht photos, all hell broke loose. You could feel the tension through the TV. One punchline, one smirk, one audience reaction, and somewhere in Montecito, Meghan's whole picture-perfect fairy tale started to shake. Colin Jost walked on that stage looking innocent as ever. Nice suit, that clean-cut charm, married to Scarlett Johansson. The man looked untouchable. But then, he opened his mouth. And oh, honey, the room froze. He said, "The new UK trade deal is simple. America keeps Meghan Markle." Boom. You could hear the silence, like pin drop silence. Even Meghan's eyelash probably stopped mid-flutter somewhere in California. Then, chaos. The crowd burst out laughing, cheering, clapping, losing it, because everyone knew that line hit deep. And Colin? He didn't stop. He twisted the knife. Only if she deletes her Instagram again. The room exploded, and I mean exploded. The headlines started popping like popcorn. Twitter went mad. And Meghan? Oh, sweetheart, sources say she didn't even fake laugh this time. Not the usual polite Hollywood giggle. She was furious. Word is, a wine glass met the marble counter hard that night in Montecito, because Meghan knew they weren't mocking her politics or her lifestyle. No, they were mocking her brand, that carefully curated, filtered, flawless image she spent years protecting. And once comedians start treating you like a punchline, baby, that means the world has stopped buying your fairy tale. Here's the thing about SNL. Their jokes are never just jokes. They always hide something deeper. This wasn't, haha, Meghan. This was, we all know something and now we're saying it out loud. Colin dropped subtle references, shady little hints at islands, at things Meghan's tried so hard to erase. He even teased her about claiming she never Googled Harry. Like, come on. Meghan, Miss Vision Board, Miss Manifest Your Man, Miss I've dreamed of a prince since I was 5? Girl, please. You expect us to believe you didn't Google Prince Harry? SNL called her bluff on live TV. Insiders said that joke felt like Hollywood's permission slip. Like everyone finally got the green light to talk. And when Hollywood starts talking, baby, it doesn't whisper. It roars. Just when Meghan thought the storm might fade, boom, the real bomb dropped. Out of nowhere, a set of yacht photos started circulating. Not fuzzy old club pics, not some harmless selfies from her Suits days. These were crystal clear, high-definition, beautifully shot images from a sun-soaked yacht off the coast of somewhere very, very expensive. Men in designer shades, champagne flowing, private staff everywhere, and in the middle, a stunning woman, glowing, laughing, living her best life. A woman who looked exactly like Meghan Markle. Now here's the kicker. The timing. The photos dropped just as Meghan was gearing up for a big new era. A wine brand, a lifestyle reboot, more documentaries, a full rebrand. And then boom, these old yacht photos rise from the dead. Perfectly timed, like they'd been waiting for their spotlight. It was too convenient to be random. But the real problem wasn't the yacht, it was the timeline. These photos were from her Suits era. Back when Meghan was supposed to be that humble, hardworking, self-made girl next door. But this wasn't girl next door energy. This was, I know the guest list, I know the billionaire, and I'm not here by accident energy. That yacht wasn't just a vacation, it was access. A world reserved for people whose names open doors, not those still trying to get callbacks from TV auditions. People started asking, how did Meghan get there? Back then, she wasn't a duchess, wasn't married to a prince, wasn't a Hollywood powerhouse. She ran the TIG, her soft-focus blog full of avocado toast and mindfulness quotes. But behind those grateful heart luxury trip posts, insiders always whispered, Meghan was strategic. She knew where to be, who to meet, and how to get noticed. People like Meghan don't end up on those yachts by chance, one insider said. Someone invited her. And that, my dear, changes everything. Because that yacht wasn't just a boat. It was a symbol of a world Meghan once moved through quietly. A world she never mentioned, but one that clearly existed before Harry ever came along. Now, here's where it turns into a royal soap opera. Because those old whispers, the ones about Meghan's early connections in elite circles, they weren't gone, just buried. Before she was a duchess, before she was preaching empowerment, there were murmurs. There were rumors of private parties, of introductions through wealthy men and industry power players, names linked to the same elite worlds as, well, let's just say the Prince Andrew crowd. And when Meghan got serious with Harry, the palace knew. Oh, they knew. The royal machine reportedly worked overtime to erase every trace. Quiet calls, vanished articles, friendly reminders to editors. The goal was simple, make her past spotless. Because once you're marrying into royalty, even whispers have to die. But whispers don't die. They wait. And when those yacht photos resurfaced, the whispers came roaring back to life. That rumor wasn't new, one insider said. It was just buried. And now the grave is open. See, Meghan didn't just build a career, she built a brand. Every yoga pose, every avocado bowl, every softly lit interview about manifesting positivity. It was all part of a bigger picture. She sold herself as the relatable, hardworking woman who rose with grace. But those yacht images, they cracked that image in half. Because how do you preach purity and self-made success when there's photographic proof of billionaire-level access before you ever met your prince? And in a world obsessed with image, that's deadly. Her brand depends on consistency, said one Hollywood PR insider. And those photos make her story inconsistent. That's the danger. Once there's a crack, people start digging. And baby, once people start digging, they don't stop. Suddenly, the question wasn't, is that Meghan on the yacht? It was, if she hid this, what else did she hide? And that question, that's what made the internet catch fire. Now, everyone expected Meghan to clap back. Maybe a public statement, maybe a lawsuit, maybe a carefully crafted "in times of darkness we rise" Instagram quote. But instead, nothing. Absolute silence. Not a word, not a post, not even a passive-aggressive poem in gold font. And that silence? It screamed louder than any denial could. Sources in Montecito said she went into full lockdown mode. No smiling for paparazzi. No accidental coffee run photos. No walks with the dogs. Just nothing. Behind closed doors, though, chaos. Frantic calls, emails flying, team members pacing. Someone described her mood as panicked but pretending calm. One source even claimed she told her team she didn't know which part to deny. And honey, that's when you know it's bad. Because here's the Hollywood rule. If something is false, you crush it immediately. You don't let it live. But Meghan didn't crush it. She froze, and that made everyone lean in closer. Meanwhile, something else started happening. Harry, the ever-supportive husband, began fading from sight. Not physically gone, but emotionally checked out. He skipped joint appearances. No cheerful interviews, no big defenses. Even a few of his virtual commitments quietly missed. Sources say the tension in that mansion could slice glass. He looked like a man reading fine print he never wanted to see, one insider said. And honestly, can you blame him? The man gave up everything. His titles, his home, his family, for this love story. But now, with these pictures and whispers swirling and Meghan refusing to speak, Harry reportedly began to wonder, what if he didn't know everything? Another insider put it perfectly. He finally accepted things he didn't want to accept before. Oof, Meghan was busy fighting to hold her fairy tale together. Harry, quietly stepping back, piecing things together, and that silence between them, louder than the entire SNL audience's laughter. But here's the truth, darling. The yacht photos aren't the real scandal, neither is SNL, not even Harry's distant behavior. The real scandal is the illusion. For years, Meghan didn't just tell her story, she produced it, like a PR masterpiece. The struggling actress turned duchess, the humanitarian underdog, the relatable woman who rose to royalty through love and kindness, every detail choreographed to perfection. But perfection can't survive a contradiction. And that's exactly what these photos were, a contradiction. They didn't just expose her past, they exposed the pattern, the ambition, the selective storytelling, the reinvention. They showed the blueprint behind the brand. Because when the world senses a crack in a fairy tale, it doesn't look away. It pushes, not always out of hate, but out of curiosity. People want to know, who is Meghan Markle really? The girl she told us she was? Or the woman she never wanted us to see? And that's where this whole thing gets poetic. Because SNL didn't just tell a joke. They declared something much bigger. A cultural moment. A statement that said, we see you now. The resurfaced photos weren't coincidences. They were reminders. The silence wasn't grace, it was telling. And the fallout? Oh honey, that was never an accident. It was destiny catching up. Meghan Markle built a global image. Polished, powerful, untouchable.
But now that image is flickering, and everyone's watching to see what rises from the ashes. Because the question isn't if her past is coming back. The question is what else is coming with it. And trust me, darling, this scandal, it's just getting started. And let me tell you something, sweetheart, once that kind of storm starts, it doesn't die easily. It spreads. Like wildfire through dry grass, touching everything and everyone connected to her name. Meghan's silence was supposed to calm the fire, but instead, it made people hungrier. The internet became a detective agency overnight. Threads on Reddit, deep dives on TikTok, whispers on blind item pages, everyone trying to piece together the puzzle that Meghan worked so hard to keep hidden. Suddenly, old photos started resurfacing, not just the yacht ones, but party shots, mysterious trips, unexplained luxury moments from her Suits era. People noticed patterns, the same faces showing up around her, the same circles of influence, the same smiles with people whose names later vanished from her narrative. It wasn't hate, it was curiosity mixed with disbelief. The audience that once cheered for her was now side-eyeing the story they'd been sold. And while all this chaos unfolded, Hollywood insiders started talking. Quietly, carefully, but talking. One source said producers and PR teams had always known there were chapters in Meghan's story that didn't fit the fairy tale edit. But back then, no one dared to touch it. The Duchess' glow was too powerful, the media too enchanted. Now, that glow was dimming, and the fear had vanished. People were finally willing to say what they'd whispered for years. Meghan wasn't a victim of bad press, she was a master of self-production. Meanwhile, Harry's circle was reportedly divided. His old friends, the ones Meghan had distanced him from, started reconnecting subtly, offering him quiet support. One insider even said Harry had been spending more time in private calls with old army mates, the kind who knew him before all the royal drama. The same source hinted that Harry's trust was cracking. That behind closed doors, he wasn't angry, he was heartbroken, because for the first time, he wasn't sure if he'd fallen in love with a woman or with the story she wrote about herself. And the press? Oh, they were eating it up. Every day, a new source close to the couple emerged, each one adding another twist, another rumor, another shadow. The story was no longer just about SNL or a set of photos, it was about power, truth, and the cost of controlling a narrative. Because at the end of the day, no matter how glossy the brand, the truth always finds the cracks. And right now, the cracks in Meghan's kingdom were starting to look like fractures. The kind that don't heal with silence, the kind that swallow the crown whole.